Hello, my darlings, and welcome. Scrying ink is a method of divination using the element of water in your magical practice. In this video, I create magical scrying ink and share 4 methods of using it for divination. Let's do some magical crafting. I'm creating my scrying ink using water, black India ink, the ashes of 3 psychic herbs and plants, and the ashes of 2 burned sigils for true sight. There will be a few bottles of this ink available in my Etsy shop, and I'll leave a link below the video. I begin with the element of fire, lighting a charcoal tablet and allowing it to begin to burn through before adding any of my herbs. Combining earth and fire, I create the ashes of 3 psychic herbs and plants: mugwort, frankincense, and sage. Mugwort is known to stimulate psychic ability and enhance dreaming. It's often used for divination and astral travel. Sage is used for cleansing and purification. It clears negative energy and promotes clarity of thought. Frankincense has been used in religious and spiritual rituals for thousands of years. It enhances meditation and promotes spiritual awareness. I'm burning these herbs in a small cauldron with a piece of charcoal. They create a heady incense blend in the room as I create my sigils. I'll be making 2 sigils to include in my scrying ink. My first intention is give me true sight. I remove all vowels, leaving only the consonants. The consonants are the manifesting sounds. If a consonant is repeated, I use it only one time. I'm left with GVM, TR, SH. Next, I combine letter shapes into a sigil. This can take you as many tries as you like to get a final outcome that you're happy with. You do not have to settle for the first result that you get unless you like it on the first try. My second intention is tell a true tale. This time I listened to my instinct and decided to keep both the consonants and the vowels in my sigil. It gave me more letters and therefore more lines and shapes to work with. After removing all of the repeated letters, I'm left with TEL, ARU. And here is my final sigil. I'm burning both of the sigils to activate them using the element of fire. Each one is folded and carefully burned in the fire-safe iron cauldron. Always practice fire safety and keep a glass of water nearby in case you need to extinguish a rogue flame. Once the sigils and herbs are completely burned, I add more sage, mugwort, and frankincense and allow the charcoal to burn all the way down into ash. This takes a lot of patience. The entire charcoal must burn through, then allow it to cool. While the charcoal can look burned out, there may still be burning embers hiding in the ashes. Then I used a stone pestle to grind the ashes into a fine black powder. Once I have my powder, I'm going to add it to a jar of water. You can prepare your scrying ink with moon water or tap water. Depending on your traditions or preference, you may wish to charge or bless your water and other materials if you wish. The final addition is Black India ink. I'm using enough India ink to make my scrying ink fairly dark and opaque. This is a 1 ounce bottle and I'm using about 1/4 of an ounce. Be careful as you create this ink and as you use it for divination, as it will stain clothing and skin. I've created a printable Book of Shadows page for this recipe. If you'd like to download it, please visit Magical Crafting on Patreon at the link below the video. My patrons can download recipes, Book of Shadows pages, artwork, and more, all provided as PDFs. This Book of Shadows page will also be available as a digital file in my Etsy shop. Next, I'll show you 4 methods of using the scrying ink for divination. The first and most simple is the glass method. Begin with a clear glass or jar of water. Make sure there's no pattern in the glass to distort the ink. You may wish to hold a specific question in your mind as you put drops of ink into the glass. Add each drop very slowly and interpret the shapes you see and the story that they're telling you. You are seeing my drops from above. However, I like to interpret the shapes from the side of the glass, which you cannot see with this camera angle. For further clarification, you can wait for the ink to settle and add additional drops. The next option is the bowl method. Begin with a bowl of clear water. You may wish to hold a specific question in your mind as you slowly add drops of scrying ink into the bowl and watch the shapes that each drop creates. I'm placing drops into a white bowl and swirling the water to create shapes. However, this can also be done in a black bowl in a darkened room with a lit candle. As the water darkens, you may wish to use the candlelight on the surface of the inky water to scry for answers to your questions as well. As an art witch, my favorite method is the wet paper method. Begin with a piece of paper, and I like to use a thick piece of cardstock or watercolor paper. Use a wet brush or a spray bottle to moisten the paper. Hold your question in your mind or speak it aloud as you drop or splatter scrying ink onto the surface. Allow the drops or spatter to fall in a random pattern. You may wish to close your eyes during the ink dropping process. Then open your eyes and watch the ink drops as they interact with the wet paper and create shapes. Interpret the story that they're telling and the answers that they're giving you. You may wish to do this one time or allow the paper to dry and re-wet it to build up a series of patterns before interpreting them to search for answers to your questions. Similar to the wet paper method is the mirrored ink blot or Rorschach method. Begin with a folded, dry piece of paper. Hold your question in your mind or speak it aloud as you drop or splatter ink onto one side of the fold. Then fold the dry side over and press down firmly. Open the folded paper and interpret the shapes that you see. You may wish to create a series of ink blots for further clarification or for follow-up questions, just as you might pull additional tarot cards to clarify an answer. Can you think of more creative and magical ways to use this scrying ink? What messages did you see in my scrying? Let me know in the comments. There will be a few bottles of this ink available on my Etsy shop, and I'll leave a link below the video.